You know why most new products and honestly most new companies fail? It's a kind of question that keeps executives and founders awake at night. And the answer is surprisingly simple. But it's also something we ignore again and again. It's not really about having the best features, the most funding, or the flashiest technology. It's about one deep misunderstanding what customers are actually trying to get done. So today let's get into this paradox and we will see why best innovations are not about product building, they are problem solving. Before we jump in, a quick disclaimer that most of the examples we use here is taken from published sources, which I will acknowledge in the descriptions. Alright, let's start with a number that is genuinely sobering. 90%. That is the estimated failure rate of new startups. Just think about it. That means 9 out of every 10 ventures, full of big ideas, passionate teams, and late nights, will eventually shut down. It's a brutal reality. But if you understand why this happens, that's your first step towards beating the odds. So, what is the single biggest reason? This chart tells the story. Now, yes, running out of cash is a big issue, but look right next to it. No market need. A staggering 42% of failed startups basically failed because they built something that nobody wanted. They fell in love with the solution before they truly understood the customer's problem. This brings us to the dining table example and the jobs to be done framework popularized by Harvard professor Clayton Christensen. Imagine a real estate developer who builds luxury apartments for retirees, premium finishes, top class amenities, and everything you can think of. But the sales fall flat, completely stuck. And why? Because the real problem was not about a luxury apartment features. The real problem was an emotional job of downsizing an entire life of 60, 70 years. Years of memories, decisions, family history, and all of it got symbolized in one item that will not fit in the apartment, the dining room table. The product was an apartment, but the real problem was one of moving a life into that apartment. So if you are selling features like granite countertops and fancy appliances, that is what is going wrong. That is the wrong approach. Then what is the right one? It needs a different way of seeing the world. A framework that shifts our focus from what of the product to why of the customer. It's called jobs to be done. The idea behind jobs to be done or JTBD is simple, but it's very powerful. People don't buy products. They hire those products to get a job done. They hire them to make some progress in a specific solution in a life problem. As another Harvard professor Theodore Levitt said, you don't buy a drill because you want a drill. You hire a drill because you want a hole in the wall. The hole is the job and not the drill. The drill is just one solution you are hiring to get the job done. And the classic case study that makes it real is the Milkshake example again given by Christensen. A fast food chain wanted to improve milkshake sales. And they did what most teams would do. They made it sweeter, they made it cheaper, they made it more chocolatey, but nothing worked. Then the researchers stepped in to do a very basic thing. They stood inside the store and asked people, why are you buying milkshake at 8 in the morning? That is when the real job showed up. Customers were not hiring the milkshake as a dessert or a drink. They were hiring it as a companion during their journey. They had a boring long commute to work and they needed something that takes time to finish. Keep one hand free while driving, and it's also filling for them to hold up till lunch. So the real competition was not other milkshakes. It was bananas or any other stuff that you would eat for breakfast. JTBD, jobs to be done framework is not only applicable for milkshakes. You can scale it honestly to understand the entire market, many business, and even the economies. So let's try apply this to a complex dynamic market like India. And here is what you would notice in the Indian context. Big opportunities don't come from inventing something totally new. They come often by fixing what is broken. Take the company Oyo Rooms. They didn't build thousands of new hotels. They solved a traveler's problem, finding a predictable, clean, trustworthy room in a market that was fragmented and inconsistent. Or look at the digital wallet company that created another opportunity. They solved the street vendor's job of getting instant audible confirmation of the payment that customers were making. You and me now hear that my payment has been made and you feel comfortable, but even more comfortable is the street vendor who gets his money. That announcement given by that digital wallet company is a progressive innovation, is actually giving a lot of confidence and trust to the transaction, especially for the street vendor. In both these cases, they found a deep frustration of customers and solved it. So there are many other common frustrations. The infrastructural issues in the Indian context. We need about $840 billion investment to meet the infrastructural gaps in the country. And the government is willing to spend that money as well. But the solutions don't come easy. And here is a massive landscape for unsolved problems that many innovators may come out and solve. And here is where it gets even more interesting. The problem is not about funding. The chart here reveals a huge execution gap. A big chunk of money that is allocated for urban development does not even get spent. For the fiscal year ending in 2026, it's projected that 40% of the Urban Affairs Ministry budget will go unutilized. So many times the biggest gap is not capital. It is a capacity to actually execute or get things done on the ground. And all of this leads to one common misunderstanding about what great ideas come from or where great ideas come from. We have this romantic image of a lone genius working in a lab and coming out with a Eureka movement by pushing new products. But innovation is not magic, it is mechanism. And it's far more accessible than most people think. Broadly, you can break innovation into two types. One called radical innovation. These are the moonshots, the big bangs that create entirely new markets. But the second one called incremental innovation. These are practical everyday improvements, making something a little better, a little faster, or even a little easier to use. So which one matters more? This data might surprise most people. It's estimated that 98% of successful innovation is incremental. It is not about inventing the first car. It's about adding airbags, the GPS, then better fuel efficiency year after year. The real work happens in those small, steady improvements. And you can see this happening in India right now through the premiumization trend that is happening. As incomes rise, consumers are making an incremental shift. They are not necessarily hunting for radically new products. They are hiring better versions of existing ones. They want more durability, they want higher quality, and they are willing to pay more. This is a huge wave of incremental innovation driven by value and not just volume. So how do you start spotting these opportunities in your own world? The key is to stop searching for earth-shattering ideas and start noticing something more common, workarounds. This is what we call workaround heuristic. It is simple but powerful rule. Whenever you see someone struggling, whenever you see a clumsy manual hacky process used to get something done, pay attention. You have found a flashing sign pointing to an unmet need. Their struggle is your opportunity. And this line says it perfectly. A humble, sometimes chaotic, multi-tabbed Excel spreadsheet is probably the greatest workaround in modern business history. Every time you see someone using Excel to manage a complex process, you're looking at a clear signal that a better solution is waiting to be built. That spreadsheet is not a nuisance, it's a treasure map. So I will leave you with one question. Look around your own world, your office, your community, your home. What crucial job are people struggling to do? What is the dining table that is getting on their way? Or what is the Excel spreadsheet they are forced to rely on every day? Because the answer to that question isn't just frustration. It might be the start of a new, meaningful innovation. Thank you.